Policeman, well liked in the community, survived by his widow and 3 young sons. He was the 9th RUC man to be killed this year. Roads were closed around the funeral. His colleagues were out to make sure the funeral was not disrupted. The service was traditional and simple, relayed to crowds outside. Police provided a guard of honour. The entire 6-mile route to the cemetery had previously been checked for explosives and cleared of traffic. Sergeant Cook was buried without incident. The horrifying success of this latest IRA campaign has caused many people here to question the effectiveness of the government's present security policies. And when Mr. King, the Northern Ireland Secretary, returns here tomorrow, he'll find himself under increasing pressure to change them. Vernon Mann, ITN, London.
Londonderry, Sergeant Tom Cook, an RUC crime prevention officer, was being buried. He was shot dead last week by IRA gunmen in the car park of a golf club. The former Presbyterian moderator, Dr. Jack Weir, urged mourners to be clear that there were no legitimate targets for violence. There must be no compromise with that sort of thinking or speaking, he said.
Police Sergeant Tom Cook, shot by the IRA last Thursday. The organisation has now claimed responsibility for more than 2/3 of the 32 murders in the province this year.
Sergeant Thomas Cook shot dead by the IRA as he left his golf club on Thursday night. Security had been tight before and during the funeral, which was to Mahara Mason Presbyterian Church. The former moderator of the Presbyterian Church, Dr. Jack Weir, told mourners there were no legitimate targets for violence. He said the RUC were properly subject to criticism, but that criticism, he said, must be from the standpoint of support, not opposition to them in the doing of their duty. It's thought Sergeant Cook may have been murdered by the same gang who shot 2 RUC men in Portrush a fortnight earlier. And on Saturday night in the seaside resort, police staged a...
Yesterday, for the funeral of another IRA victim. Sergeant Tom Cook was murdered on Thursday night as he left the City of Derry Golf Club. He was 52. He'd served in the RUC for 29 years and had been due to retire shortly.
Security was extremely tight as the funeral procession made its way from Sergeant Cook's home at New Buildings to Mahara Mason Presbyterian Church on the main road between Derry and Strabane. The church was filled with mourners, and the funeral service was relayed to the hundreds more who stood outside. Among them, Father Ignatius McQuillan, a former president of the golf club of which Sergeant Cook had been a highly popular member, the club which was the scene of his murder on Thursday night. During the service, the former Presbyterian moderator, Dr. Jack Weir, criticised opposition to the RUC and made it clear that his stance on the increasing number of terrorist attacks was unequivocal.
There are no legitimate targets for this kind of violence. Not policemen or judges, not contractors, farmers or shopkeepers, not being the wrong sort of person in the wrong place at the wrong time, not family connections, women or children.
A police guard of honour marched alongside the cortege as it left the church. Among those there to pay their tribute to the man who'd served nearly 30 years in the RUC were senior police and army officers. The local Ulster Unionist MP William Ross and the former DUP Assemblyman Gregory Campbell were also present. Sergeant Cook was buried at Altnagelvin Cemetery. He leaves a widow and 3 teenage sons.